Tired of juggling a dozen apps just to manage your freelance life? Drowning in tabs for clients, budget, and travel? But what if you could ditch the chaos? What if you could run your entire freelance life not from a dozen scattered apps, but from a single streamlined system that's practically bulletproof? Then watch this. We're going to break this down in 4 key areas: productivity and organization, time tracking and invoicing, finances, and finally, travel and logistics. By the end, you'll have a blueprint for building your own freelance command center. Productivity and organization. First up, let's build the foundation: managing your projects, your tasks, and your own brain. As a freelancer, you're your own project manager, assistant, and CEO. It's so easy to get lost in a storm of deadlines, client requests, and random ideas. Along the years, many apps have risen and fallen, but now the undisputed champ is Notion. Notion is like a set of digital Legos. You can build almost anything: a project pipeline for your clients, a content calendar, a personal journal, a travel planner with your flight details, even a database of your contacts. Instead of your to-do list being in one place and your client notes in another, it all lives together. Most Nomad communities even share pre-built Notion templates for things like city guides and budget tracking. Of course, we need storage. That's where Google Workspace comes in. It might seem basic, but it's essential for a reason. Google Drive is your to-go for cloud storage. Making sure your files are there whether you're in a Bali cafe or on a train in Italy. The ability to edit documents offline is a lifesaver with spotty Wi-Fi. Pair that with Google Calendar, which lets you layer multiple time zones to keep track of client deadlines, and you have a reliable bedrock for your operation. If you're not that into Google, you can also use Proton Workspace, but it's hard to compete with Google's interconnection for now. Finally, for communications, some of the most common tools are Slack and Zoom. Slack helps replace the endless email chain with organized channels for each client, while Zoom gives you that reliable face-to-face connection that builds trust no matter where you are. Now the time tracking and invoicing. For the heart of the freelance operation, getting paid for your time. This is where so many people stumble. You either underbill because you can't remember how long something took, or you struggle to justify an invoice when a client asks for a breakdown. The problem is a lack of proof. You need a system that tracks your hours and turns that time into money seamlessly. This is the most critical part of my toolkit, and the app that powers it all is Clockify. Clockify is the backbone of my entire freelance business, built for anyone who bills by the hour. Here's the workflow. For every client, you create a project. Inside the project, you create tasks. When you start working, you just hit that button and the timer starts. You can track from your desktop, phone, or a browser extension. And if you forget, you can add time manually. But it's not just about time tracking, it's about data. At the end of the month, you can generate detailed reports showing exactly where your time went. This is your proof of work. And since it connects time tracking directly to invoicing, Clockify automatically generates a professional invoice based on your tracked hours. No more manual math or building invoices from scratch. This feature alone saves me hours every single month. The free plan is incredibly generous, offering unlimited time tracking and projects. For solo freelancers, that's often more than enough. If you need more, like expense tracking, profitability analysis, and handling multiple currencies, which is a huge plus for digital nomads working with international clients, then pay the app. It's cheaper than Netflix. Link in the description. If you're finding this breakdown useful, just subscribe and share. The description has the links and resources we're discussing. That's where the good stuff is. Now, finance and money management. Alright, you've sent the invoice. Now let's talk about managing the money. This is a massive headache for anyone. You're dealing with different currencies, international transfer fees, and clients all over the world. Using a traditional bank for this is a great way to lose a chunk of your income to terrible exchange rates and hidden fees. Old school banks just weren't built for a borderless life. Your financial toolkit needs to be as global as you are. For me, the absolute cornerstone is Wise, which you might remember as TransferWise. Wise is not a bank, but it gives you local bank details for major currencies like US dollars, British pound, and euro, plus many others. This means a client in New York can pay you in USD like a local transfer and you get the full amount without crazy wire fees. For daily spending, I pair Wise with Revolut. While I use Wise for getting paid, Revolut is my go-to for everyday expenses. It has a great app, slick budgeting tools, and a debit card that's perfect for travel. Many nomads use both, Wise to receive large payment and Revolut for daily spending. Finally, you need to manage your business finances. QuickBooks Self-Employed has been phased out for new users, so its replacement, QuickBooks Solopreneur, is what you want to look for. It syncs with your bank accounts, helps you categorize business expenses, tracks mileage, and even help estimate your quarterly taxes. A key question for nomads is, can you use it outside the US? The software is cloud-based and can be accessed from anywhere. However, its tax features are country-specific, with the main version built for the US tax system. But still, it turns the nightmare of freelance bookkeeping into a manageable process. And you can sync Clockify with it as well to make it even easier in the paid versions. The final piece of the puzzle is the nomad part of being a digital nomad. All the travel. Managing flights, places to stay, and internet connectivity while running a business is a job itself. For accommodation, honestly, Airbnb is still a go-to, especially for months-long stays where you can often get big discounts. Booking.com and I don't have the best of relationships at the moment. But I also highly recommend checking out sites like coleven.com. They're fantastic for finding community and a built-in social life when you arrive in a new city. When it comes to booking flights, I have a two-step strategy. I use Hopper to watch flight prices and tell me when to buy, but I use Google Flights for the actual search. Its filters and calendar view are unbeatable for spotting the cheapest days to fly. And for other types of transportations, I really like Trip.com. I've found really good train tickets when traveling through Europe, for example. Lastly, my biggest source of anxiety, connectivity. To solve this, I rely now on Airalo, an eSIM app. It lets you download a digital SIM card for almost any country before you arrive, and with unlimited data solutions. I have suffered with local Wi-Fi in the past, so I don't take the chances anymore. An extra, a VPN like NordVPN or ProtonVPN is a non-negotiable. You're going to be using a lot of public Wi-Fi, and a VPN encrypts your connection to protect your personal and client data to its best extent. So that's a system. Notion is your second brain, Clockify is your engine for getting paid, Wise and Revolut are your global financial hub. This is the setup that removes the chaos and gives you the freedom to build a sustainable career while you explore the world. It lets you be a professional first so you can be a nomad second. Remember, make sure you're subscribed and tell me, what's your number one can't live without app that powers your freelance business? Drop it in the comments below. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. GG's.